Okay, are we good? Okay, welcome to our second Founder Talk. Hi, I'm Dave Sanders. I'm a physician and a co-founder of Moza AI. I'm here with Dr. Sara Gillham, a naturopathic physician and our product leader. I'm also joined here by our Director of Community and Culture, Mary Noblock. Great to see you guys here today. Welcome.
Thanks, Dave.
Welcome. Great to see you both.
Yes. So last week we talked about the 6 steps to creating a self-care experiment, aka a SelfEx. And today we're going to talk about something that's almost like a prequel. It's basically, how do I join a SelfEx in the first place and then conduct, or we call it run a SelfEx. And so I'm thrilled to have Sara help us kind of visualize that and walk us through. So with that, Sara, will you take it over and kind of maybe walk us through the join and run process?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, so I think the question that we're really aiming to answer here is, what happens when I hit the join button, right? And we'll get into a few different things there. There's the why you'd want to join, how you know what you're getting into, and then what exactly happens once you're in. And on the why you'd want to, I like to call this one the 4 deaths of self-care. One of the big reason that you might want to do a SelfEx is that when we are out there doing self-care things in regular life, there tend to be 4 different ways that these things leave our lives, or the 4 different ways that these things die. One is the oh yes or oh no, which is really what we're aiming for. It's the clear, yes, this works for me, or no, this doesn't work for me. And that is actually pretty uncommon. You know, maybe 5% of products that we buy or programs we enroll in or whatnot actually clearly work or don't work for us. Much more common is something more like the abandoned bottle, the autopilot repurchase, or the now what. And the abandoned bottle, this could be the abandoned bottle, the abandoned diet, the abandoned whatever. You get partway into it, you start trying it out, and something else shiny comes along and you completely lose track of it and it goes by the wayside. Open many medicine cabinets and you might find all kinds of things that are partially tried and maybe never fully realized. The next one, the autopilot repurchase, this is when you get to the end of a program or a supplement or diet and just kind of go, well, I guess it's supposed to be good for me. I guess I'll keep going. So you just kind of keep pumping more money, time, energy into it without really knowing whether or not it works. And then that last one, the now what, that's when you get to the end and you're more just like, I don't really know, like maybe it worked, maybe it didn't. Should I restart it? Should I stop it? I don't know. And you're just kind of in this wishy-washy area. So what we're aiming for with a SelfEx is getting more and more and more of the things that we're trying to that clear oh yes or oh no state. And with a SelfEx, we think that we do this really through 3 different things: through accountability, camaraderie, and clarity. So we'll move over to—
Love those 3 C's, Sara. That's awesome.
Fantastic. I'm glad that helps. Yeah, so the accountability and camaraderie are really about the community and doing this together, as well as some tools that are built into the SelfEx itself for the accountability side. And then clarity is really using our own personal data to get to that clear answer, but doing it in a way that's really simple and passive. So, you know, using things like a Fitbit, where all you have to do is wear it and sync it with the system so that you're not having to, like, you know, jot things down every day and keep track of every little thing. It keeps track of a lot of it for you. And then just taking simple questionnaires that you do at the beginning and the end. So it's not a lot of work, but you still get to that clarity. So pausing there on our 4 deaths of self-care and our getting to an oh yes or oh no. Dave, Mary, any thoughts or questions on those?
One more time, I love the list because it makes it so easy for me to say again, the 4 deaths.
The 4 deaths. Yeah, so the 4 ways that self-care items live or die in our lives. First is the oh no, oh yes. And that's the, wow, this actually worked for me. This is amazing. The thing I'm going to tell all my friends about because it just worked. The abandoned bottle. These are the things we get excited about. Maybe we kind of get distracted. They get left behind. We don't really know. We just kind of throw that money away. And then we probably throw more money away at the next thing and abandon that one too, and on and on and on. And then the third, the autopilot repurchase, the I guess I'll keep going because I guess it's supposed to be good for me. And the now what? The like, oh, I don't really know what I should do with this.
I think we all can relate to all of those. Probably for me, more the last three, I tend to get trapped in.
Yeah, those are definitely the much more common ones, unfortunately. It takes a little bit of attention and a little bit of sticking with it to really get most things to clarity. You know, there are those things out there every once in a while that are miraculous and you try them and they work and but more often than not, we're pumping so much of our life force and time and energy and money into things that we just don't see through. And there's so much benefit that we're missing out on there. And then also things that are harmful to us that we're not fully realizing.
Yeah. And Sara, these things apply to what? To the use of diets, the use of new training regimens, the use of supplements. What applies to them?
Any kind of self-care activity, anything. Anything that you decide to put time, money, or energy into trying to see if you can get a particular outcome from it. That can be cosmetics and body care, fitness routines. You name it, it applies.
Makes sense. Okay, so given that, what's up for us now? What's the better way?
Yes, so let's go take a look at Moza. Let me share my screen here. And
don't know, this is at Moza, https://moza.ai, or just moza.ai should get you there.
Okay.
This Greek tragedy with the 4 deaths while we're pulling this up.
Yes, the 4 deaths of self-care.
Sara, thank you.
So how do we take all these great self-care things and put them to rest in that clear oh yes, oh no category? So here we are on our site, and we're in the shop section, and right now we're looking at different self-experiments. And so the first question in there was, how do I know what I'm getting myself into? And this is where we figure that out. So even just here at the top level, we've got the question. In this case, will an Ayurvedic sattvic diet help my anxiety? So we know that this one is geared at anxiety and that it's a dietary intervention. This one is 5 days long. It's going to need 2 supplies, and it's already open and running, so I can join it right now. Whereas you can see over here, this one, it begins in December. So I'm interested in this one. I'm going to go ahead and jump in here. And so we can already start digging into some of that camaraderie and accountability element here, even at the top level. So if I watch her little trailer video here, and it tells me about her approach, why she's interested in it, why she thinks it might work, and maybe I have some questions there about it. So I can go ahead and start the conversation with her right here just by clicking on the comments. There they are. And I can tag her in it. I can tag the other people who have joined and start the conversation with other people who are interested in solving the same problem that I'm interested in solving with similar solutions. So you can start building that community and camaraderie there. So as I said, I can go to her profile and learn more about her and connect with her. I can go to the profiles of other people who have joined this one because they're obviously interested in similar things to me. I can choose to just follow this SelfEx, and that'll allow me to follow the stories of everybody who has joined this specific SelfEx and anything they post related to it. And then to make this really easy, to make it easy to get to clarity, I have my complete supply list here. So everything I might need in order to find out if this thing works for me is listed right here. There's some supplies that are available from Moza, and I can easily just order that as part of my sign-up process. And then there are other ones that aren't available on Moza, but I still have a quick link to link out to those and buy them easily as well. And I can dig in and learn more about the formula and analysis, and then ultimately join the experiment. So that's what we're here to look at, is what happens when I hit join. I'm going to go ahead and do that.
So okay. Sara, you used the word trailer for that we just saw.
Yes.
Maybe just say a word about that idea.
Yeah. So it's called a trailer because it's very much like a movie trailer, except it's a SelfEx trailer. It gives us the overview of what's going to be happening. The whole plot, kind of highlighted there for us so that we know who we're getting into it with and what exactly we're getting into with them.
And the person that we saw there that was presenting that, maybe just tell us a little about like how she got there and who she is and why she's sharing this. Maybe just a minute or two, Kim.
Yeah, so this particular SelfExer, she's a nutritionist and she has gone in and created a self-experiment herself, just like anybody can. So she happens to be a nutritionist. She happens to have a professional credential, but that is not at all necessary. Anybody who has a question can go in and create a self-experiment. So yeah, if my friend tells me that vitamin C is great for this thing and I want to try it out for that thing, all I have to do is go and type it into the SelfEx builder. I can choose a data package to process it and generate my answer at the end, and I'm good to go. So
Cool.
Again, anybody can create a SelfEx.
Cool.
Yeah.
Good.
questions. Okay, so here I am. I've already joined the SelfEx. The SelfEx is free, so that's easy to do. In this case, I can order the supplies and go through the shipping and order process here if I wanted to, or maybe I already have all the supplies I need and I can just click I don't need supplies, set up my SelfEx now. I'm going to go ahead and run us through the shipping process here, put in my order information, go to checkout. And there we go. My order is in, so my supply is on its way. And now I have the option of setting up my SelfEx now or setting up later. And setting up is just reviewing a video of the formula. And the formula are the very specific instructions of exactly how to run my experiment, exactly what I need to do, when, and how. And then it gives me the option of inviting my friends and connecting to my wearables. I'm actually going to click Set Up Later just to show you where this lives. So now we are in the Home tab. Before we were in the shop, we found our SelfEx. Now we're over in the Home. This is where I can always find any SelfExs I've completed or I currently have running. So this is that one that we're looking at. It has one task that is needed and it is ready to be set up. So now that you know where it lives in the home screen here, where my SelfExs are, and then all of the posts from the community, I'm going to go ahead and set it up. So again, first thing, I have the formula video. This is very specific instructions on exactly how to run your self-experiment from the creator of the experiment. Next, I have easy one-click invitations to my friends. If there are other people who I think would be great for the community, for accountability, who would also benefit from this, I can just email them or invite them via Facebook or Twitter. And I already have my Fitbit set up, so it's skipping a step for me here. But if you did not have a Fitbit set up, you would be able to connect it right there. And important to note, you do not have to. You don't have to have a wearable device to run a self-experiment. You will get deeper data and a more detailed My Answer report with that in place, but it is not a requirement by any means.
Cool.
Okay. So now it is all set up and ready to run. And there are three main areas in our self-experiment runner. There's just kind of the overview where, again, I can access my formula. I can access the other people who have joined this self-experiment. Then there's my tasks. So every day that something is required of me, there will be daily tasks listed here for me to complete them. And this is part of that accountability. And different creators may have different levels of requirements or recommendations around tasks. It might be that some are more loose and like to do weekly check-ins. Others might have daily check-ins. And that's part of assessing that SelfEx up front to decide what types of things you're interested in, what types of SelfExers you want to participate with. And then once I have my SelfEx fully started, my data insights will start flowing there. And we can see the feed of everybody who's in this SelfEx and their updates here. So let's go ahead and we will look at what it looks like to go ahead and start the self-experiment. So we set it up, we went through, got friends invited, got our Fitbit set up, and now we need our baseline data. So we're in this pre-start range where we're getting our baseline data. And first I'll say, check to make sure I have all my supplies. Yep, I've received my supplies. I'm good to go. I have everything. Then I'm going to check for my baseline data. My Fitbit is hooked up. In this one, I need 2 days of baseline data within the last 5 days. I need resting heart rate variability. Got 2 green check marks. Awesome. I'm going to go ahead and actually start the self-experiment. Okay, so now my data is coming in, and I have my first tasks that are actually within the experiment itself. The first one is to take my pre-intervention anxiety quiz. I'll be able to collect that real quickly here. And then this particular creator, Living Food Alchemy, she wants us to check off every day our breakfast, lunch, dinner, and snacks, and whether we were able to adhere to having Ayurvedic sattvic foods for those diets, for those meals rather. And each day I'll come back and it'll be on the right day here. I'm clicking ahead so you can't complete tasks in the future, but you'll be able to see what tasks are required of you and work your way through that. Then once that is complete, we'll get to my answer, my decision. So next week we'll talk about those two.
And Dr. Sara, you mentioned there was a quiz, you said, or a pre-test. Is that what you said?
Yes.
What's happening there?
Yeah. Do we want to actually look at that guy? So in this case, we have an anxiety quiz, and we'll go ahead and start it. And in this particular case, we're using a standardized, rigorously studied clinical assessment called the GAD-7 to assess anxiety. And so we do this at the beginning and we do it at the end. And then we look at how much change occurred between those 2 points in time. And that's part of how we get my answer in conjunction with the heart rate variability and resting heart rate data.
Amazing.
Okay, so we'll go ahead and just click through those. Finish. Great, that quiz is complete. And so that'll show us checked off. And I can check off my other things. I had my breakfast, lunch, dinner. And I can go down here and see my first couple of data points. I've got my baseline data for my heart rate and then my heart rate variability. And each day that I sync my Fitbit to the app, it'll go ahead and start pulling in more data. So I'll be able to watch that trend as the self-experiment progresses as well.
Amazing.
Yeah, and on the social side, so again, we can always comment and start a conversation there. I can post to this feed easily also. I can just create or upload a story right there. And then one other element that I think is going to be really helpful to people is we can click on this storyline at the top here. And this will allow us to see the user's complete storyline throughout the experiment in chronological order. So we can see that here we've got 4 stories for this experiment that we can just go from beginning to end to see her process and her experience, what lumps or bumps she ran into, any challenges, how things are working out for her. And we can learn a lot from that for our own process.
I love that feature. It's great.
Me too.
And we can do this all on our iPhone, right?
Yes.
Running the whole experiment. That's amazing.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Yeah. It's really optimized for phone, which is why you can see on desktop, it looks like a phone. Okay. So those are the highlights. And again, once we complete all of our tasks, that'll take us to my answer. And that's getting that sharp, clear answer at the end. And then my decision, deciding what to do with it, whether we cut the formula and kick it out, or we keep it and add it to our True Health portfolio.
But you're gonna hold us in suspense and you're not gonna show us my answer right now?
Correct. That's for next week.
Oh, that's next week. Okay. So folks, you heard that? I need you to come back next week, 1 p.m. Pacific time. And Dr. Sara will walk us through kind of the culmination of this. And we're going to learn about the My Answer feature and the brilliant idea of yes, no, yes, but, and no, but, and the keep cut paradigm. Is that right?
That is correct.
Okay, beautiful. I have a couple of things to ask you. I want to first just ask Mary, is there anything that you'd like to ask first?
Oh gosh. Oh, there's so many things. Dr. Sara, what is your vision as the creators come in and use the app the first time around? What's the one thing you really want them to feel and experience when they do their first SelfEx?
I think the main thing is empowered. I mean, this is a tool for them, and I mean, it's a tool of connection, community, clarity, and in a lot of ways, self-expression. Like, I think a lot of health and the pathway to health is being able to take control of it for yourself and to do it your way and the way that works for you. And I hope that people will use Moza for that purpose. And so when they're creating their self-experiments, the tool is there to support them in their way of doing that.
Love it. Our creators are so excited, and I can't wait to see what they all come up with.
Me too.
Thank you.
Especially since we've got so many artists out there. I'm sure they'll come up with some.
Oh,
great-
yes. Yes.
Sara, I know we're focusing today on the, kind of in some ways the nitty-gritty of how to do a self-care experiment, which is really amazing. I think you did a great job of walking us through it. But I think people care also about like who's behind it and what they are. And you and I have worked together for a long time. Dr. Sara is unusual in that typically these three things don't usually travel with one person. You don't see a person who's a elite trained physician, as Sara is, and a technology product, digital product expert, and a person who has kind of a entrepreneurial and founder streak. All of those things don't usually travel in one person. Maybe just say a little bit about yourself and kind of, if you would, as the product architect and the vision architect for what the experience is, of just how you kind of brought those three things together in your life and how you then took that, then found Moza. That's a lot to ask. Maybe just a minute or two.
Yeah, I'll take a pass at it.
Yeah.
Well, I think the first thing that jumps to mind for me is, there's kind of the standard line that the things that you're most interested in childhood are the things that are probably best for you to pursue in your career. And for me, it was always puzzles and riddles and things like that. Like, my mom would get me these really complex 3D puzzles when I was really young, and I just loved them. Like, Christmas morning, all the other toys by the wayside, like, give me that puzzle. So I think that for me, technology and healthcare, the two of those things together are very much playing into that love of complex puzzles and trying to figure out how to put things together in a way that really helps people move forward effectively. And, I think Moza is definitely one of the best examples of that effort of really trying to solve the problem of how to empower people to work through the changes and the efforts to be able to feel their best given their body and circumstances.
Yes, beautiful. And as we kind of move to close, I'll just share one more thing. We have been working together out of the town of Portland, Oregon, for the last many years of our lives together. And one of the kind of the famous bumper stickers that has been around Portland for a long time is "Keep Portland Weird." And Sara has been kind of the chief instigator of keep pushing the whole team to use the expression, kind of says, it needs to be weird. And what she means by that has always been, we have to do original work. It has to be original work, meaningful work. And so I think if you just saw what Sara just showed us, I don't think you before have seen that before. I think that creating this self-care environment that's one part peer-to-peer community, one part easy to access, almost TikTok-like self-care sharing social network, and one part hardcore AI backend that actually analyzes your data and see what works for you is weird. Hopefully weird, and I think weird in a very beautiful way. But I give Sara tremendous credit for leading us and keeping us on the path of staying true to our roots here in Portland of doing weird, important, different original work. So thank you, Sara, for all you've done on that. Well done. Okay, so our time is just about, I think, wrapping up. We're trying to keep these sessions to a half an hour. I think it's kind of just about where we are. So you can, if you want to come back and watch this or share it with your friends, I'll just kind of tell you, here are the places you can go to. You can go to moza.ai, which is our site, and you can follow our blog, and we'll post it up there. And the blog's at Moza. It's at Moza News. So that's where you can find, it's actually moza.news, where you can find our blog. It'll also be on our podcast, which is currently at Spotify, and shortly will be on Apple Music as well, which is called the Self-Care Podcast. So with that, guys, thank you so much. We'll be here next Wednesday, same time, same place, 1 p.m. Pacific time. And we're going to talk about my answer and the keep cut paradigm, right?
Mm-hmm. My answer and my decision. Mm-hmm.
And my decision. Keep cut paradigm. Great, thank you. And Mary, great to have you here. Thanks so much for joining us again.
Thank you. Honored. Thanks, Dave. Thanks, Dr. Sara. Thanks, Dr. Dave. Bye.
Thanks.
Guys, thank you.
Bye.
Bye. Ciao.